thank you very much for this opportunity, sir. My whole idea is if I can share all that I have done in the last 30 years of my life, which has been into technology, I'll be very happy. I'm a third generation teacher in my family. My grandfather was a teacher. My dad was in the government service and took on to teaching after he retired. And I took on to my passion of teaching 22 years ago. And I'm thoroughly enjoying my journey, though I'm a corporate teacher. But I think teachers are teachers at heart, and we enjoy teaching. Except that my students are 50 plus, and I mostly coach and train either the CEOs or CEO minus one. And my entire journey into technology, and that to tech education, started 22 years ago when I initiated my organization. I don't know, but I thought that digital content would be the future 22 years ago. And I brought in a team of people in my organization who were very tech savvy, who enjoyed working with technology. And we started investment in development of content 22 years ago. But pandemic changed life for us completely, as it did for everybody. I think the content that we had created had gone dead because nobody was consuming digital content. Everybody was face to face. People enjoyed, interactions with the faculties, and they wouldn't look at digital content. But with the lockdowns, the shutdowns, and one of the interesting things that came up was learning as a requirement or a value, if I were to say, in the minds of people and the hearts of people, went up during the pandemic. People wanted to educate themselves a lot more. And then I was also on Coursera. I was a mentor there for certain programs, and I got exposed to this whole idea of the online content. And while I was doing my entrepreneurship with Wharton, one of the projects was to create a company which would be into sunrise industry. And since I'm a design thinking professional, we always believe in going for low hanging fruits, not wanting to do something completely different. So I realized over 22 years, so much content was created that we actually brought that content together in exactly 17 days. In 17 days, we built the world's largest corporate training MOOC. And that is the power of technology. And interestingly, that company operates with zero employees. So it's a limited liability company with zero employees. And what I'm wanting to share is the entire journey of content. And feel free to ask any question that you wish. I'm going to be getting into the scope of the government's plan for sure. I'm also going to be talking about how technology is now taking shape with the entire industry coming at large. So we're going to be talking about that. Let me get the presentation up for you. I'll just take your... All right, I need a confirmation from you. Is the slide visible?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So feel free to stop me anytime. These are 21 slides, not too heavy. For the first thing that I'd like to tell you is the way we make our slides. We make our slides on certain content development tools. So you might find them a little different in terms of how they look. I'm going to talk about how the technology is actually changing the face of education. You all know that's the topic for today. I've already been introduced. I don't want to spend too much time on that. I'm getting on to first slide of mine, which is the India Brand Equity Foundation of the government, which is talking about the Advantage India. Now, if you look at the extreme left in terms of the robust demand, it says that since we're the largest population, 580 million in the age bracket of 5 to 24 years, and that's where maximum people are in the education sector. So it's a huge opportunity. India has over 250 million school-going students, and the applications for study in Indian programs has increased 146% in 2021. What is the competitive advantage? English is on. 12 Indian schools are listed amongst the top 500 in the QS graduate employability rankings, which is again the current figure of September 2021. I love the concept of the policy support of the government, which is 100% FDI under the automatic rule that is coming in. That means foreign universities will come in and definitely revolutionize also the education further. And there are increasing investments that are happening in the education market. In fact, tech education is big time in India. If you look at the second bullet time point, in India, the edutech market is expected to reach 10.4 billion by 2025, which is huge. Now, how is this helping us? This is helping us primarily. I thought of putting this slide up because I felt all of us definitely need to look at a concept that in India, education is been there for a long time. It's a great value that we carry in our country. Second, we have a lot of people who are already in technology, and therefore education and technology is a great combination and an advantage India has. So we're going to have a lot of edtech professionals in India for sure. How are these edtech professionals going to help you? And that's in every slide, I'm going to give you a very critical message. The first message that I would like to give you is look for edtech entrepreneurs, because these are people who had ambitions to become faculties and teachers but decided that they would pursue the area of technology. And if they partner with your universities, with your educational institutions, they can actually provide you great resources for sure. And India has a lot of edtech people. It's not about me, it's about everybody here in India. And with China now putting constraints on the education business effective July 2021, it's becoming all the more better for India. I love the national education policy for sure. And one of the certain excerpts that I wanted to pick up was pilot studies for online education are going on. Premier institutions are doing this, and that's where they're being publicly communicated. That's one part. So it definitely makes sense to look at how things are going on the online education front. There's a massive digital infrastructure which is being put into place. We also realize that there are rapid advances, and one of the messages I want to give you in this slide is with 5G and quantum computing coming in, the processing power is going to increase substantially, and 5G is going to revolutionize the entire augmented reality, and therefore we're going to enter a world of immersive technology, something that I'm going to cover as we move ahead. There are online teaching platforms that have been created. I'm sure you, all of you know that the government has created these platforms and portals for you. And content creation, digital repository and dissemination, again, for the coursework, learning games and simulations, all that is available to you. And since you belong to premier universities, obviously you have access to everything. So in the last two slides, I talked about, in the last slide, I talked about the advantage India. This slide, I talked about certain initiatives that government has taken. But there is also a digital divide, which means there are some regions in our country where the digital content is not reaching with the kind of intensity it has to reach. And as the internet communications and technology start moving into the remote areas of the country, which will happen for sure, with the mobile devices and learning becoming available on all the devices, we will be able to reach the remotest corner. And therefore my idea, my thought is all those people in India who even live in the remotest corner of India will be open to learning, will learn, and that's where things will work for them. And also, for instance, I was in Ladakh a couple of years ago before the pandemic set in, and I found students had to travel for 2 hours every day to get to school. All that is ready for shift once technology comes in. Virtual labs, with the immersive technologies coming in, now you can run practicals on the virtual labs, which is going to be big time revolution as far as digital content is concerned. And the government is also saying that training and incentives for teachers who tend to go online and with their teaching platforms. But with all this, what is our personal advantage? I was just sharing with Sir, and I said, all the faculties who wish to become immortal, technology is the best way, because best of the faculties are rare to get. And if these best of the faculties were to convert their content into digital content, you know what's going to happen? The student can interact with you anytime on the go. In fact, one of the advantages of technology is we are converting everyone's dead time into learning time. Travel used to be dead time, but no longer. People can learn while they're traveling. They can watch videos, they can learn, listen to audio, a whole lot of those things can happen. So it's converting dead time into active time, learning time. It's also becoming what we call ubiquitous, which is it is technology independent. It is device independent. Earlier, when the technology was in a nascent stage, everybody was holding it to their ransom. Apple would have their own control on technology. Microsoft would have their own control on technology. But now the technology is available across platform, and therefore it's becoming ubiquitous in its own way. And that's what I love about technology. One input that I want to give you here is we succeeded in the business of digital technologies because we believe very strongly that the internet operates on the law of karma. The more you give, the more it gives you back. The more content is provided in an unrestricted way, the more it will prosper. I mean, the cliched statement that knowledge grows by sharing, it's today the most important thing. I have talked about the national initiatives. Any questions on that? I'm willing to take. I know it takes a little time for us to warm up in terms of questions, but anything going on in your mind right now, I'm willing to take. Any question? Normally I wait for 15 seconds before I slip the slide. So any questions on the last 2-3 slides?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello, myself Subrata from Shiliguri.
Thank
So,
you,
as
sir.
I said, there is a possibility for the technology in the rural area also.
Yes.
So, if you see our world poverty, most of the people are in my place. Most of the people are below poverty level.
Yes.
So they don't have that capacity to purchase mobile. So although somehow during this pandemic they somehow to manage purchase a smartphone, but the problem is two or three child they are studying, but the thing is what their class is going in the same time. So there is a problem. So
There
one
is.
can do the classes, by another they are not able to do the classes.
I agree.
Another thing is the internet problem. Even some of the places there is no network.
Yes.
Well, 5G, you are talking about 5G, 4G, even 4G, 3G, they don't have. So
Yes.
what is the future?
Okay. The future is like this, sir. Definitely, if you look at the World Trade Organization and the World Economic Forum, since I'm a student of international business, all governments all over the world, there is a massive thrust on penetration of what we call the as ICT, which is the Internet Communication Technologies. The government in India also is very particular that technology has to reach the remotest corner. Now, obviously, India being a very huge country, it does take time, but I'm very optimistic about it. I agree, sir. It's going to take probably another year and a half for technology to move into remote, if not the remotest corners, but that will happen for sure. Fiber is moving big time, and fiber connectivity is definitely going to happen. And I think the government bandwidth opening up, that will also ensure that we reach the remote corner. I completely agree that's a challenge, but that's a challenge that government will have to overcome through private players, because if we want to bring education down to the remotest levels in the country, technology will have to penetrate to that level. I don't have a direct answer for you, sir, because it's an infrastructure issue that is being dealt with currently. The second part, in terms of technology being expensive, and what I like about technology is over a period of time, technology becomes cheaper and cheaper. I remember when I was probably the first user in Pune for a mobile phone, because I worked for a US company at that point in time. I was paying 24 rupees outgoing and 18 rupees incoming. Look at the cost of the call today. So technology has an innate ability of going down. While I have not given you a direct answer, but I would like to say one thing for sure. My wife works with a research organization, which is a government organization in India, and they are into computer and technology oriented work, I can say this with confidence that the kind of projects and the kind of work that is going on right now to bring technology and that to internet and communications into the remotest corner is big time. I just think we need to wait for some amount of time. Till then, we'll have to play the game of patience. And I think my last input to your question, sir, would be use that time to build as much content as possible, because the day our country has internet available at the remotest corner, we are ready to go big time on digital content. I hope I could answer your question, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
But
Thank
that's
you,
my
sir.
optimistic viewpoint, because we work for our country and we've been watching the drivers here. And I think I can say this with absolute confidence.
Okay, okay.
In fact, I do a lot of training programs internationally, and I tell you, online international programs, the kind of quality of bandwidth we have in our country, even countries in Europe don't have that kind of a quality. I know certain people will think I'm talking through my teeth right now. I am not. In fact, the call drops are crazy outside. We are very, very good in terms of technology. So don't worry, we're absolutely on the path.
We are hoping, we are waiting for that particular day, sir, when it will come. We will provide all the people, they will get the internet connection, 4G, 5G, all the things, all over the country.
Yeah. So yeah, true. So okay. So the impact of technology is not a vital part of teaching in any case. We know that, but I want to spend time here on this slide. Look at the way this slide has gone. I mean, if you look at it sometime, so this is the UNESCO statistics that I'm talking about, which is the COVID-19 staggering impact on global education. Look at it, if you look at it from the February, March onwards, we actually look at the entire figure moving up to 1.38 billion. Now, what did it say? It said that as of 2021, we've had 95% of the schools in the world going online, which is huge.